Hello, my name is Peggy Adams, and I'm president of the League of Women Voters Flint area. With partners Flint Beat, represented by Jaquanda Johnson, and Communities First, Incorporated, represented by Joel Arnold, we're bringing you this forum today because we share a purpose to engage, empower, and educate Flint area voters. We're happy to bring you a virtual community forum today to help you decide which candidate for the Michigan State House in your district will get your vote. Questions will be asked by representatives from Flint Beat and League of Women Voters, while Communities First Incorporated staff will ensure that the forum remains on time and on schedule. All candidates who have qualified to be on the ballot were invited to participate in this event. However, some candidates chose not to participate, did not return the request for participation, or they had a scheduling conflict. To follow up, be sure to check Vote 411 to check their responses to our questionnaire, which contains different questions. All participants were informed they would need to comply with certain rules, such as refrain from comments on other persons, and only take this opportunity to tell voters about their own qualifications, priorities, and outlook. All candidates are asked the same questions, and all have the same 2 minutes in which to answer them. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today and being an engaged citizen. Now, I'm happy to introduce Thomas James Harris Jr., who's in the race for the 70th House District in the Democratic primary. Would you please provide your own introduction along with a summary of what qualifications or skills you possess that will make you an asset as a member of the House?
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Adams. A 24-year veteran of the United States military, the Army, I've had to work with both male and females, and I've worked in the position of equal opportunity where we had to provide assistance and understanding to both women and male soldiers at the same time. And learning to understand females and their complications or their situation they might have in the military, I think it does give me a qualification to deal with women on the outside of the military as well. With the understanding and the leadership qualities and abilities that I have, I can take that same training and understand that I have acquired during my time and apply it to the outside world to help benefit women and men equally.
Thank you for that introduction, Mr. Harris. We would like to know from you, what are the three most pressing issues facing your district? And if elected, how will you address them?
Really, the most pressing issues that I see right now will one be gun violence in our community. Two, a hot topic right now would be women's rights, as far as abortion, and another one would be education for our young students. Education, I would try to inspire our young adults and where I come from and what I have gone through, how I transitioned from somebody who graduated high school, going into the military, and is now attending college at the University of Michigan on a full-time basis, and showing that there is hope, that don't believe this you didn't graduate now or you did not do it, that it's all over for you. You cannot achieve goals in the future. Give them inspiration that way. Gun violence, we need to sit down with our young kids and teach them and show them the right way of doing things and how to handle themselves. Um, there are laws and things that can be put in place that will help reduce the gun violence in our communities that I think we should really look at and approach in an open-minded way to see if we can reduce the violence in our communities. And when it comes to the third one, which I said was women's rights, I'm strictly for women's rights. They should be women should have their own equally rights. The abortion issue should be taken away from women. So we address that issue with both male and female so they can understand what's going on in our community.
Thank you.
Mr. Harris, what best practices will you employ when making decisions on behalf of the residents of your district?
Say that again, ma'am.
What best practices would you employ when making decisions on behalf of the residents? What's your process to make decisions on behalf of the residents of your district?
So what I learned in the military, we do a company called MDMP, Military Decision Making Process. So we take certain options and we strive for the options, the things that can happen behind each one. So you look at option one, what can be the correlating effect to option one? which can be step 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then go from there and figure out what would be the best solution to help the people in the community. So don't just pick one option and run with it. You break it down and see the effects that can happen along the way, and try to minimize the effects and make it possible so everybody can be taken care of.
Thank you. What efforts, if any, would you take as an elected leader to ensure transparency and access in government?
So for me personally, I would give out my open number to anybody, and then at least twice a month, if possible, depending on what's going on in the state, I mean, at the legislature level, come back here and have forums and like open day coffee days at a diner or something. Anybody who wants to come sit and talk with me and ask me questions, be open with them about everything. And if I can't, then I would personally invite them down to the state capitol so they can come sit with me in my office, or they want to come down to the capitol and see how legislation is being made. I believe in being transparent. I don't want to hide anything from nobody, so I want them to see what's going on and know exactly what their vote got for them personally.
Thank you. How would you work as a state legislator to improve public safety and blight elimination in local communities?
I'm sorry, say it again, ma'am.
How would you work as a state legislator to improve public safety and blight elimination in local communities?
I work diligently. I will sit down with the officials here and the local officials within the city, within the Flint City Council and the Grand Blanc City Council, and sit down with them and see what needs to be done and what they need to be on my level, what I can do to provide help for them to their level, if anything needs to be given. But I want to be very, very much cooperative with them in any way possible. I do believe not trying to hide myself, put myself at a higher level thinking I'm better than anybody, but I want to be down there at the level with them and be at the ground level as well, talking to residents as well as the elected officials in the city and the community to figure out what needs to be done and how it can be taken care of.
Thank you. How would you approach ensuring that local communities receive the revenue they need from state government to fund basic local services such as parks, recreation centers, transportation, and public safety?
So from my level, my understanding, I'm gonna go up there. I would diligently fight for people of our community at all costs. If it's not going to benefit our community, it's going to hurt us or take away from us, I'm not going to vote for anything in that way. I will try to do everything in my power to try to receive funds and gain as much as I possibly can to help and give it back to the community and not hoard it, and not just give it to one section over here or one section over there, but to give it out equally to everybody. Try to not demonstrate, but try to not fight, I shouldn't use that word, but compromise with other elected officials on how we can use the revenue to help our communities out, at the same time achieving some revenue for the Flint area and Grand Blanc area as well.
Okay, now we're down to the last question. Why should voters consider electing you to this office?
Personally, I'm a very easygoing, easy talkative person. I'm very approachable, open-minded, understanding. So I do understand people come from different walks of life because I had to deal with it for so long. And with that being said, that I don't come with a biased opinion or bias or thought about anybody. I'm very open-minded. I'm very, very talkative, very open with anybody and everybody. I will make myself open to the community. If they want to call me, contact me, I have no problem with that. Answering questions truthfully and honestly, and giving them the information that they need or they may want that's going to help them in the future.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. I appreciate the questions. Thank you very much.